If you feel paralyzed, helpless, like your mind is broken, even though you know exactly what you need to do, it's not that there is anything wrong with you. You simply need to understand these three crucial steps to go from lazy to disciplined. Number one, aim small, miss small. In wars, soldiers are trained to aim small, miss small. And when they are aiming at their opponent, their enemy in front of them, instead of aiming at the body, they aim at the button on the jacket of their shirt. And what happens as a result is you create an extremely detailed goal. And so if you miss the button, you are much more likely to hit the target than missing the body and going and hitting the air. And just like that with your goals, a lack of detail in your goal, a broad goal, one that doesn't have the necessary motivation for you to actually do the work, will result in you missing your shots, not being motivated to do the task, and overall creating a vague path. When Alice was faced with a fork in the road, the Cheshire Cat asked, "Where do you want to go?" And she said she didn't know. And in response, he simply said, "Then both ways will take you there." With having really vague goals like I want to be rich, I want to be fit, I want to do this, where the goal is simply words on paper, words within your brain, you can't actually achieve them. You can't actually be disciplined to change. And so it's not that you're lazy, you simply don't have a why. You don't have a why or any motivation to actually start. You suffer from an abundance of choice to where you want to go. So you have multiple paths that you can take. You don't really know which to take, which will all take you to the same place, which is this broad, non-specific goal. I want to make $10,000, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it's broad. And so like the soldier, you have to aim small, meaning you have to aim specifically. And if you aim specifically, your shots will be more accurate. So in the sense of your goals, in the sense of creating your goals, this isn't just like saying I want to make $10,000. It's saying I want to make $10,000 in something that I like doing. That way you narrow your choices. When you visualize the goal at hand in extreme detail, where you keep sharpening the clarity of your target, the clarity of where you want to go, and when you visualize every single detail of that goal and make it extremely specific, then the shots that you will fire towards your goal will be more accurate, will be more motivational, because you know where you want to go. You've experienced it. You see, your brain cannot tell the difference between what is imagined and what happens in real life. And so when you are visualizing your goal and you're aiming towards your goal, you feel the same joy that you would when you achieve it. A lot of people think that it makes them complacent, but usually it's up to the individual themselves. If someone thinks that they are a champion, one person may simply never work again because they think that because they are a champion, they're the best in the world and they don't need to do anything. But another who has the exact same visualization of the goal and thinks that they are a champion will think, because I am a champion, I have to improve every single day because I constantly learn and I constantly win, and that is how I work and how I live. So very different people, but the same thing that I'm trying to stress to you right now, which is this idea of aiming small, meaning aiming very specifically within your mind on where you want to go. This way you have a very specific goal, a very detailed goal, and you know what it's like to achieve that goal because you've felt the dopamine before when you visualized it. It's the same as anything else in life, video games, anime, movies. Because if you've never watched movies in your life, you wouldn't be motivated to do so. Because you've watched it before and you know the experience of watching a movie, you know the joy, the happiness, the sadness, the wide array of emotions that you feel when you watch a movie, you decide to watch it again. In the same way, when you rehearse your future, when you rehearse the goals within your mind by looking down the scope and looking at a very specific goal, a very detailed goal, what you're simply doing is you're creating motivation. Because you get that dopamine and you're thinking, I need that again. And so what happens is you start rehearsing your future. And you start rehearsing your future to the point where you live in the future, making your present the past. And once again, it is up to the individual on whether or not they will be complacent or they will be ambitious. And so with number 2, it's making less decisions throughout the day. In the same way we've narrowed down your goal, you have to narrow down the decisions you make in the day. And the easiest way to actually remove the amount of decisions you make, because you only have a finite amount of decision-making power in your day, a finite amount of willpower that you can use before you start relapsing, before you start getting exhausted, before you start burning out. How you can actually make less decisions and create more willpower, which is discipline in and of itself, is you make sure that in the morning you don't make big decisions. You don't create unnecessary drama or create unnecessary things you think about. So you don't look at your phone in the morning. And what you do in the morning instead is you go through a set system, a process, a morning routine. So when you wake up, you make your bed. After you make your bed, you go for a walk. And after you go for a walk and you listen to some motivational speech, you come home and you journal about what you want to do for the rest of the day and what you would be most proud of if you did today. And then you start doing what you need to do. That is simply an example of how you can have a good morning routine. The most important thing for step number 2 is to remove the amount of decisions you make in the day. So if you actually plan your whole day in the morning, you will no longer have that 5-minute window of you questioning what you should do in the day. Should I eat or should I do this? What should I eat and what should I wear? And when you have all of these decisions, what happens is you have an exponential decrease in your willpower. You have an exponential decrease. The less willpower you have, the harder a task is exponentially. So if you've made 5 decisions in the morning on what you want to eat, where you want to go, what you're going to do, and all of these things in very different areas and very different places without a compact schedule that you've created, then what happens is you start wasting your energy, and so you become less disciplined because you don't have any willpower. So when you do this, when you visualize, when you journal, when you plan out your day, because you can either do it in the morning, but you can also do it at night. Either way, it works. And what you can also do is very simple. You make sure that there is no negotiation with what you want to do. You don't negotiate, because that is how you stop doing things. Cold showers for me were a non-negotiable. And it wasn't a question of whether I should go or whether I should do this. It was a non-negotiable. I will just go regardless. Because when you make room, when you make space for decisions, what's going to happen is you're going to choose the easiest path out, which would be the hot shower, which would be the scrolling. When in the moment, if you make it so that your emotions decide what you're going to do, then you're always going to choose the easier option. So you make sure that the hard tasks throughout your day, there's not only non-negotiables, they're also done in the morning when you have the most amount of decision-making power. This way it's exponentially easier. And so when you make less decisions throughout the day, when you make less decisions about the normal basic things in your life, like the clothes you're gonna wear, what time you sleep, what you do in the morning and at night, then you're going to have more energy and more discipline to actually inflict within the boundaries of what you want to do. And so step number 3 is to be repetitive with literally everything. So we've gotten the goal, we've gotten the idea of making less decisions and creating a routine for yourself. What you now have to do is just repeatedly do it. And when you repetitively go from doing the exact same things every single day, from the very basics of your own life, the biological mechanisms within your life, like your sleep, like the exercise that you do, like the healthy things that you eat, when that is completely consistent, you signal to your caveman instincts that your environment is safe because you sleep at the exact same time, and that means there isn't a threat or a predator, that your food source is safe because you eat the same things. And when you eat all sorts of different things every single day, what's going to happen is you're going to start creating this mental image within your own instincts that you're somehow running away, that you're in some sort of other environment. And when you understand that when you sleep at the exact same time every day, when you eat the exact same things every day, and when you do the exact same things every day, you start creating consistency. And you only have conviction, and you only have confidence and discipline through consistency. You get good at something not by going once a day, you get good at something by going once a day for 30 days. That's how you get good at it. So in order to actually complete this step, you have to be repetitive with everything. The routine that you make should be non-negotiable. And when it's a non-negotiable, you have to continue to do it every day. But make sure that the things that you do, you actually enjoy to a certain point. When I was doing 14, 15 hours of study during the very last year of my high school, what I did was I genuinely had 1 hour before I did anything in the morning. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. and then I would just genuinely relax. From 5 to 6, I'd go for a walk, I'd plan out my day, I'd have a cup of tea, and then I would just do a few little things, and when I'm relaxed and when I'm feeling nice, that's when I start. You don't have to have this David Goggins mentality where everything has to be hard. Because when it is hard, you're not going to continue to do it. You're not going to be consistent with it. So many people think that it has to be hard, but they're not consistent with the things they're doing. When the thing that you need to do is easy, that's when life becomes beautiful. And discipline isn't really a case of, doing the hard work every single day, regardless how you feel like it, even though that's the exact mantra I told myself in the mornings when I did have to do it. It's about making sure the things that you need to do are easy to do, meaning that even if you don't feel like it, it's still easy. It's still easy. No matter how tired you are, if someone told you just to study for 1 second, then you would do it, wouldn't you? That is consistency. If you have that consistent discipline, to actually just purposefully do something every single day, whether it's for a minute or whether it's for 10 hours, it doesn't matter. It's about the consistency you create in the repetitions. And when you sleep every single day consistently and you create consistency within your life, what you start to do is you have confidence and competence and discipline within the aspects of your life. And so that is how you actually become disciplined, from going from lazy to what you will be very soon.